Hello from Kings Mountain State Park today. It's a beautiful day. Temperatures are a little cooler than they have been, but the wind has died down finally a little bit. So we're still under a burn ban. No fires allowed right now, but at least it feels a little better being outside. You're not feeling pounded by the cold air blowing on your face anymore. And as you can see, the sun's out, so that's always wonderful. I am hiking along the CCC trail in the state park today, and I actually have not spent too much time at the state park. I usually visit Kings Mountain National Park instead of the state park, and sometimes I'll hike into it. So I'm not sure that I've ever actually parked inside this park. So today was a first for that. But so far it's a nice trail. It's a long trail, but not overly strenuous. There's only slight incline and decline. So you're just weaving and meandering through the forest. It's pretty cool. Fair warning though, it is a shared equestrian and hiking trail, so there are signs of horses. I know that really bothers some people, but we're out checking it out. We've passed one woman on a horse today so far. That's it. Very quiet day out here. So there is a lake in Kings Mountain State Park, Lake Crawford, and that has frequently been our hike from the national park to the state park. So that is definitely a cool hike. Maybe do that again sometime soon, but it seemed like that was going to be a busy area today. So this trail is very quiet. There are a few stream and creek crossings as we go through, though we have not come to any yet. One thing that I have noticed about the state park compared to the national park is the signage. So sometimes you're lucky if you find a sign at the national park to help you know if you're on the right trail or not. Some trails are better marked than others, but this trail is extremely well marked, and at all the intersections that we have come to so far, they have a map and a little dot to show you where you are, and arrows on a sign to show you which direction to go for different trails and different destinations. So I think that's really awesome, especially on a long trail like this. You don't really want to spend more time being lost and getting yourself deeper into the woods and further away from your ride home. As I'm walking on a multi-use trail, clearly the horses have been through here. At least it's not too wet. As I'm walking on a multi-use trail today though, I am thinking about how everybody's experiences and abilities and expertise are also different. So those riding on horse on this trail are going to have a completely different experience than somebody hiking. Somebody that showed up with a bike would have very different experience as well, since there's a sign that says no bikes on this trail. But other trails allow all kinds of things. So your mode mode of transportation or your mode of getting to where you're going is gonna be a different experience. And then I just walked down a pretty steep downhill, which slows me down real hard. I'm really careful with my knees. However, the boys are right behind me, and I'm sure they just kept up their regular pace going down. And then when I get to those uphills, I'll keep going. This is pretty. Found a water crossing. I guess I'm supposed to go on this log. A hiking pole might be helpful here. But I don't slow down going uphill at all. I love the uphills, and they definitely slow their pace a bit. So, all right, I'm gonna get a hiking pole out to support my balance going through here. So I made it across the river. The log was very waterlogged, but just a wet shoe. Then immediately started a pretty steep climb. So we're going up right now. I was excited though, along the river there. There was sugarcane, and I always think of it by the river. When I was at Lake Waccamaw last weekend, I was thinking of it as bamboo because it wasn't a river, but it was wetlands and by lake. And where I grew up, we didn't really have sugarcane, so it's still something I have to remember. But I was able to identify it here, so that was pretty fun. So as we met up, we were all down there across the river together by the time I was ready to get across. And we all did it a different way. So I thought that was cool because it just was like proving my point to myself about the experiences. And I think it is good to be aware of those things. I think a lot of times we assume somebody's experience with something is the same as ours. And often it's not. So it might be a school experience, and you automatically go to thinking what that experience was like for you, and assume that it was the same for them. And often that's not the case. It might be relationship experiences, family dynamics. All of those things they make us who we are. That's why we're all so different. It gives something that we can relate to each other on, but we can also share, support, and celebrate those differences as well. Because sometimes our different experiences are great. Others are different because there was something negative for one of the people involved. So I think it's something really good to be aware of as we're doing life with other people. I always get a kick out of chatting with people along the trail, because you get all kinds of people, all walks of life, all phases of life, and in general, people out on the trail are very friendly and have plenty to chat about, and then you continue on your way, and it was just a conversation you shared. But you never know that impact that conversation can have on the other people. So it's fun to get to know people when backpacking, especially the thru hikers. Usually have a nickname, and usually there's a story behind their name. So it's always fun to hear how their nickname came to be. And especially on backpacking trips, everyone's out there having a similar experience at the time. But for the most part, from what I have experienced, everybody's real life experiences are different. I know there's a few out there that get to almost full-time be on the trail, which I think is awesome. But for the majority of us, that's not the case. So there's a lot of life experience to share when you're out on the trail together. When I was hiking on the Blue Star Trail, there was a couple that I guess they don't frequent that trail area very often, but I guess they had done it one time last year. They knew there were closures because of the bridge, and they ended up trying to make their way across that river. They did do it, but it was exhausting to them. So when I saw them, they had seen me in the parking lot. So we started kind of at the same time. I had done a bunch of hiking. They had just gotten across this river. And so they asked which way I had gone. So that was sharing my experience to help them. So they were able to take a bridge on the way back, and not spend so much time trying to make their way across that river, because there really wasn't the structure to do that. So it was fun to chat with them, and each of them able to share some of their trail stories, out there having fun together. I love it. It is such a peaceful hike out here today. I know my feet are making a lot of noise crunching the leaves, but otherwise the gentle breeze sound is the only other thing that I hear out here. It's beautiful. I'm surprised there's not more birds around, although this tree shows some pretty good signs of woodpeckers that have been going after whatever lives inside of it. But I haven't seen too much today. I don't know where he went, but there was definitely a woodpecker that flew by. His colors were very distinct. I thought he went to that tree right there, but I don't see anything hopping around. So keep my eye out for him. Oh, there are a couple birds flying over there. Oh, saw a yellow one. I struggle to remember names of things. Oh yeah, they like the power lines here. They like it wide open. Brain fog that I deal with because of all my stuff is intense. So I have a hard time remember the names of anything. It'll come to me later. Oh. It's a pretty day. One of the things that I think is most important about our varied experiences is to share them with youth, because while they're still going to need to have their own experiences, and they may end up with the exact same results, even after we have shared with them and given some wisdom. A lot of people have to learn the hard way, my son included. But sharing with them does sometimes help them be prepared for how to handle those things as they come. Maybe they won't make quite the same mistake, or they'll get even more out of that experience than we had, to just make it a better experience. So I think sharing with them it's going to also help them understand that they're not alone. Like, our experiences are, while they're different, we're going to all handle them differently. It's not, they don't need to feel isolated because of them. I think in today's world, especially with all the technology that makes people think they're connected, but they're really not, like, having that connection with people and their experiences is really important for their mental health. We're under a little more tree cover now. And some holly trees through here, so pretty with some green. Some pine trees up there. And there are still leaves on the ground, but most of it is now pine needles where I'm walking. Definitely different terrain. One of the things I don't think I mind about a shared equestrian hiking trail is often the horses do kind of mangle up the trail, which, depending on your perspective, is true here. But often it through here it just seems like it's almost plowed, and so it just makes it softer ground. So not as difficult to walk in as like sand would be on the beach. It's definitely harder to walk in, but I feel like for somebody with their joints, this kind of terrain is a little easier to walk on than solid ground, which already is better than the concrete or pavement. Did finally remember what the yellow bird was called. Just was blanking on it, but goldfinch. I was very excited that that's what I had seen. They're so cute, so bright. Continue to see a few different woodpeckers, and I have heard a couple trying to find some lunch or snack. So I don't know exactly which kind they are. They're on the smaller side. Definitely have that bright red color though, so I know there's a couple that are like that. So, very peaceful day. This section definitely shows some of the damage from Paul's hurricane. Some big trees came down. I'm excited because I have had a change to my experience of life in general. I finally decided to give contacts a try because I just rarely wore my glasses because of how they felt, and I didn't like seeing just the glasses portion. I didn't like having that border around blocking my view. I just don't care for wearing glasses. They don't feel great. But I started to realize that I might be missing out a little bit on some of the opportunities or experiences that I'm in because I can't see as well as I should be able to. So decided to give it a try, and it's been amazing so far. Really exciting. It's nice to just be able to see what we're doing. We went and played Beat the Bomb with some friends yesterday, and without contacts in and without wearing glasses, I wouldn't have been able to see the board, have any idea what was going on. My experience would have been completely different. However, I was able to fully participate in the game because I could actually see everything. So that was really fun. And then we went for my first bike ride since wearing contacts last week, I guess. And it was amazing how much more confident I felt riding on the trails because I could actually see better. So definitely enhancing my experiences in life. So I'm grateful for that. This is a very well-defined section of trail. Reminds me of a tree-lined street driveway going up to a country house or something. Pretty cool. So it's pretty cool. I recognized that it looked like a road between the trees coming down this way. And I guess it was at one time. Apparently these two stone pillar kind of things. Anyway, that's all that's left of the CCC camp that was here when the program was established to give jobs, and it's when our state parks were developed. So that's pretty neat. That's where the camp was, back through there. So the information sign here tells about what was there, about the different structures. So it's called Camp Hawthorne. So it said that the state of South Carolina was in very bad shape with the Great Depression. So no state was hit harder than South Carolina. So, like a little tower thing is what it was. I don't know exactly how they used it, but it's definitely a structure, and it seemed to have had a door on it, and the other's the same. So it's pretty neat. So now there's I guess a camp. You can camp here. There's the spots for the horses to be tied up. A fire ring right now covered in leaves, and picnic tables. So it's pretty cool. I guess you can camp right outside where the camp was. There's a pretty section of trail next to the water here. I've seen a few different trees. It's hard to see that one as clearly over there since it's so far away, but the roots are exposed from all the erosion. But then, which is not uncommon to see then the roots down at the bottom, but there's been a couple of them that it looks like there's stilts underneath holding them up. So it's pretty cool. So just like these signs that I mentioned here that are telling us which direction to go for different trails or different destinations here at the park, we have that many different options with our experiences going forward. And we get to choose which way we're going to go. But at the same time, I think it's important for us to remember that just as much as we're going somewhere else, there's that many directions that people can be coming from as well. And so I think it's really awesome when we're able to take the time to hear about the story of how people got where they are and what their adventure has been like so far. So take some time, enjoy some conversation with someone. I'll see you next time on the trail with Heart.